I think it's best if we just start with just a direct question. Did you, Assemblyman, intentionally strike your child?
No.
The police say you committed a crime. They say the evidence was clear, the testimony was clear. Chief Dyer used the word battery, actually, to describe this.
I spent all morning with CPS and the Department of Social Services, and their determination is the best place for the kids is with us. They'll be coming back to our home tonight because that's where they're safest and where they need to be. Now, I wanted to take a moment and actually say thank you to the teachers and to the police officers and to CPS, everyone who's doing their job. That's how we know that there's a process in place that will make sure that we take care of people. And finally, if I can, I have a responsibility to continue to be a good dad. This is not easy, but we will continue to be good parents as best as we can be.
Can you tell me what happened then?
Yeah, that night is like many nights for parents who have kids. I had a daughter who was acting out, and I disciplined her. I'm embarrassed to say it's not something we routinely do, but I did spank her on her bottom. It's something that is not normal for us, and yet we have to be able to have some ability to set some rules for our kids.
Well, spanking is not illegal, but there was something that the teachers noticed the next day. Spanking to leave a mark that they would notice, I think that stands out. So how do we explain that?
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is exactly that caused and precipitated all of this. What I can tell you is what I know happened that night and what I've done my entire life. You know, I've actually never hit anyone in the face, man, woman, or child. I'm a healer by nature. I'm a doctor, and it's not in my nature to actually be assertive and aggressive like that. It's mind-boggling to me that we're here, and yet we have a process that's in place, and the process determined that they were safe with us, and that's the best place for them. So I'd like to keep coming back to that because the experts, the people who do this every day, they know that we're loving parents. Everyone in our community who's ever seen me with my kids knows who I am, and so I put my trust and my faith in that.
And I understand that's very good news for you with CPS just did, and obviously you shared a little news with us with that. I think there's still some questions, of course, about what did happen then. If you spanked your child, your daughter, on the bottom, what did the teacher see the next day? You have no idea what they saw?
I dropped her off that morning as every other day that I drop her off. Life was going along like we normally do. I knew that she was upset about the night before she left home. She was still angry. I don't pretend to know what goes through a 7-year-old's mind or what they'll tell people or how things came out. But what I do know is that she has a home that's safe, that we as parents love her, and that she belongs in our home. That, yes, we have a process to work through, and we're in the midst of all of that. Mm-hmm. But before people jump to conclusions, look at what's actually transpiring. Our kids are back home. Those who know how to do this are really looking at it, and they made the determination. And so I'm proud to actually say that because we have a role to continue to be good parents.
Is there any idea right now about what CPS is saying, where they say, okay, the kids can be back inside your home, and what the police are going to say? Do those two things necessarily line up, or do you still have, I imagine you still have a process you have to go through there? Because again, and I hate to keep bringing it back to this, Chief Dyer saying that there was clear testimony. What your daughter told, I don't know if it was whoever was investigating, the teachers and then somebody else, said, and he used again the word battery, not spank. Mm-hmm. And so that's why, as a journalist, I'm sitting here, and I'm curious. And when you say I have no idea what teachers saw, I'm curious also.
Yeah.
You truly have no idea what they saw? Is there a mark on your child that's visible?
I didn't see any marks before she went to school. I was not aware of that.
But then when you went later in the day?
I didn't actually get an opportunity to see her.
Okay.
She was in a room with multiple people and didn't have that chance.
Why didn't you speak to police? I understand that a lawyer gave you advice not to do that. Do you feel like that was the right advice at the time to not give your side, just tell them what had happened?
I don't know what the right thing is to do in every situation, and must admit that you have to lean upon people who have been there before, and I trusted them when they told me that it wasn't time for me to give a statement. But I'm here today to tell my side of the story as well, and that people rush to conclusions that aren't always what you think they are. Here we have a case where our kids are back home where they need to be because we love them and care for them.
Do you plan on giving a statement now about what happened if police, obviously they're going to keep investigating, and they seem like they're going to want to at least follow up on this before deciding whether or not to pursue charges and stuff like that. Do you plan on speaking to them now?
I'm sure we are in the process of actually working to hire an attorney. We had not done that prior to all of this because we just were trying to get our kids back.
I mean, you had an attorney with you, though, when you went to the...
We did. He actually ended up being my uncle.
Okay. Let's just step back for a second, because your booking photo came out this morning. That's out. The Republican Party chairman here locally is saying that you should be resigning for this. People are looking at you and your beautiful family in a way that they've probably never looked at it before, and asked questions that they've never asked about you guys before. And so, what has this been like for you?
It's been a hard 48 hours, to be real. You know, I'm a parent first and foremost before I'm a public servant. And as a parent, we have a responsibility to our family. And so I'm trying as hard as I can to keep our nucleus together despite everything that we're going through right now. This is traumatic, not just for me, but for our daughters. And I'm concerned about the effect that this is having on them. And so I'm so excited that we're actually going to be back together tonight, that we have a chance to read a book and to cuddle and be a family again, despite everything that we're going through. I know there's a process that's going to play out, and there's always going to be people who rush to their conclusions, but I hope what they hear and see is a family man who cares and loves about his family.
For people who are watching this interview and who see this, and this is all the whole thing, we're gonna put it out there. For people who watch this and they say, I'm sorry, it doesn't add up, this is a powerful man. This is a powerful man from a respected family, and they knew when they arrested him that there would be questions, that the spotlight would be whatever. They wouldn't do this unless they were sure about something. And what they're hearing, they might still have questions. They might, I don't know if they would not believe you, but there might still be some doubt. What is your message to people right now watching who are feeling that way?
Well, the opposite has actually been happening as well. So many people in my community have been rushing to try and provide some support because they know me. They've known me my whole life, and they know who we are as a family and our kids. I actually want to make sure that we continue to be out and be seen, because everyone who knows us and who sees us knows that we're caring and loving.
Joaquin is an incredible dad, and he really loves his children. I'm happy that they're coming home, but he is just a really wonderful, loving dad.
Well, I know this has to be extremely difficult on both of you, as a couple, as parents, as husband and wife. Like,
It is.
you know, the spanking thing, again, not a crime by any means. I don't know what percentage of parents, use that, but it's sizable. Because of what's happened here, has this forced you to look internally at the way that you do handle discipline and stuff like that, and reassess your actions as a parent?
Absolutely. And I think we all need to realize we have opportunities to grow. And I do want to just say again, it is a tool of last resort. It's not something that we do. It's rarely something that we ever get to. And yet, it is a part of discipline that we have, and maybe there are other tools that we can do. I'm looking forward to family counseling and figuring out how my daughter and I can start communicating in a more effective way. She's 7, but she's so darn bright, and I have to figure out how to allow her to give space to her emotions and to allow her to continue to grow as well. But the only way we can do that is together.
So what's the next step? Through this process. We talk about the process. What's the next thing that's going to happen? Do you know?
As soon as we're done with this interview, I'm going to be going home to my daughters. I'm looking forward to the opportunity to seeing them again. This has been a really hard 48 hours for our family, and I want to be home.
You have not seen your kids since you were arrested?
I have not.
Mm-hmm.
I could see in the eyes. It's tough.
It is. I love my daughters. I really do. And they mean the world to me. There's a song about "You Are My Sunshine" that I've been singing recently, and I really miss my daughters and look forward to having them back home.